you should strip that tape off the bottom of that fork down there so that thing won't swing over and hurt someone. No.
Right here?
Yeah, that's perfect. I just see on the lights. Definitely keep your lights on.
This is worth eating. Just one. Just one.
Hey,
Don't abuse it.
I guess some of the great highlights of my life have been involved in camping with young men and involved with young men and seeing some of the marvelous things you do. I had occasion to read what each of your Eagle projects were on the way down here. And I thought, imagine that, 26 major projects to build this community. And it works. You're doing it, and when I was a mission president, the Eagle Scouts would come to our mission, and you didn't have to ask which ones were Eagle Scouts. When they walked off the plane, you could just pick them up like that. Boy, you could, this one was, and this one was. And I didn't ask them, and I'd go get their form later on. Yeah, they all lined up. That doesn't mean there are a lot of wonderful men that did come out on the mission that were not Eagle Scouts. But you could always say, this one's an Eagle, and you could pick them out. When Joseph Smith walked out of the sacred grove at the age of 14, he knew more about God than all the popes and all the ministers and all the priests and all the pastors who ever walked the earth, because he had just talked to them face to face. And that doesn't degrade their religion, but I think what it does is helps us to understand what a great blessing it is to have the Church of Jesus Christ with modern revelation and a modern prophet. And let me say this about President Benson. I love him. Oh boy, what a man. I think he's the greatest man of integrity we may have had in this last dispensation, maybe with the exception of the prophet Joseph only. You could have all the winds of hell and satanic powers blowing against that man, and I know he would move. He's like a polished granite shaft, and nothing's going to shake President Benson. I'll tell you, he really is something else, and you're blessed to live in the day of President Benson. The 12 apostles, I get in the elevator and I go up with them and down with them, and you know, it's as much a thrill to me as now as it was 17.5 years ago when I was first called as a general authority. Somebody said, doesn't it kind of bother you that after all these years you've gotten to know the brethren and find they're really not all that you expect the apostles to be? And I said, just the reverse. Actually, they're more than I expected them to be. They really are apostles and prophets and holy men of God, and committed like you wouldn't believe the hours they put in the time. But I wanted to be here with you and honor you. And the theme of my talk tonight that I'm going to give in the other room is, who honors God, God will honor. Boy, that's true in my case. I couldn't have been more proud of you and what the Lord will do for you. And as you honor the Lord, He'll honor you in ways you never would dream. You'll do things unusual. Let me just close with this. In this article about diffusion in the University of Utah, one of the professors back, I think from Harvard, one of the major colleges, said, can anything like that ever come out of Utah? Indeed. Can anything like that come out of Utah? Like Philo Farnsworth, who invented television, and like the Marriotts, and you just go right on down and name them. Tony Burns, who was head overall of Ryder Corporation, and Don Steady, who heads up the Continental Grain, $14 billion corporation. Can anything come out of Utah and Arizona? I'll say it can. And you're going to be the young men that do that, and as you honor God, God will honor you. Well, Lord bless you. We're terribly proud of you. And just remember that you know. Let me just say this. I won't say this publicly out there, but I'll say it to you. There are about three things that I simply have for a long time made up my mind I'd never do. And one of them, I could never walk on my garments. I will not stand on them. I'd rather have both legs cut off here than ever stand on my garments. I will not do that. I'll put them on the counter or in a hamper, but I'll never step on them or desecrate them in any way. And the other one is I've never been able to take the Lord's name in vain. I couldn't do that. Something inside of me that God sent with me down in the inner world will not let me do that. I'd rather have my tongue cut out. I cannot take the Lord's name in vain. I will not do that. And God knows I will not. And then the third thing is I could lie to you. My integrity would not let me lie to you. And when I say this really is the true Church of Jesus Christ, well, I know that with every particle of my being, and I couldn't say it. I wouldn't lie to you. I don't know any power that can make me lie to you and say I knew it if I didn't. My integrity wouldn't let me do that. Well, anyway, you need to know that I know it's true in the name of Jesus Christ.
This Eagle Court is under the direction of Elder Vaughn J. Featherstone, First Quorum of the 70s of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and a director of the National Executive Board of the Boy Scouts of America. Our music for this Court of Honor will be led by Eagle Scout Scott Burrell, and his accompanist tonight will be George Woods and Eagle Scout Darrell Smith. I'm pleased to announce that President Clayton Hakes, stake president of the Mesa Central Stake, has declared that applause, though we are in the chapel, is appropriate for this Court of Honor. Seated on the stand are the Honorable John McCain, United States Senator; E. Earl Sonny Hayes, Chief Scout Executive of the Theodore Roosevelt Area Council of the Boy Scouts of America; Jim Shumway, Secretary of State, Arizona; Jay Heim, National Director of the Eagle Scout Services and President of the National Association of Eagle Scouts; the Honorable Peggy Rubach, Mayor of our fine city of Mesa; and Clayton H. Hakes, President of the Mesa Central Stake. Also seated on this stand are Mel Jones, Mesa District Chairman; Cal Littlefield, Mesa District Director; Cal Heron, Unit Commissioner; D.V. Burrell, Scoutmaster; Wayne L. Gardner, Varsity Coach; Lawrence M. Windward, Explorer Advisor; and William R. Cunningham, Bishop of the 43rd Ward. And we have various other Eagle Scouts on our stand who are part of our program tonight. Following the Pledge of Allegiance, we will sing the Star-Spangled Banner. If you look in your program, you'll see the words towards the rear of the program. Troop Committee Chairman, after our song, Carl Benson, will then lead us in the prayer. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Robert Pickles, Eagle Scout.
Color Guard, attention. Color Guard, present the colors. Would the audience please rise? Color Guard, post the colors. Would you please repeat after me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Color Guard, you may be seated. Would we please remain standing for the flying of our Star-Spangled Banner?
Our new Eagle Scouts are all fine young men. I think we should pause for a few moments and get just a little better acquainted with them. It's now my pleasure to present From Infant to Eagle. Carl?
Dale E. Anderson, Jr.
Dale, known to all as DJ, is the oldest son in his family of 5 sisters and 2 brothers. DJ has developed a keen sense of humor and can be counted on to provide a good laugh. Because of his happy disposition, his peers, adult leaders, and teachers enjoy his association. He has always enjoyed sports, and his scholastic abilities are evidenced by being an A student. DJ's plans for the future include college and professional school. His desire to serve a mission and maintain the characteristics of honesty and integrity show his love for his Heavenly Father.
Michael S. Boren.
Michael is the 3rd oldest child of 6 and the 2nd son. He is the patrol leader for his National Jamboree Patrol going to Fort Hill, Virginia in July. Michael has always showed leadership qualities and is a well-liked young man. He has a great sense of humor and can even make his mom laugh. As a student at Mountain View High School, Michael enjoys running and using a computer. He loves to read adventure books, and his teachers all report that he is a pleasure to have in class.
Damian W. Budge.
Damien is the 4th child in his family with 3 brothers and 3 sisters. He has always been fun, creative, and inventive during his childhood. His room is a cluttered workshop with live wires, useless gadgets, and some inventions that still don't work. Damien plans to graduate from high school a year early and wants to get a college degree as an electrical engineer simply because he wants his inventions to work. However, his spiritual goals will have priority over college as he looks forward to a mission.
R. Nathaniel Clarkson.
The 2nd son in a family of 8 children, Nat has always been considered to be the champion of the little children in defending them from bullies. He is a sports enthusiast, lettering in 3 sports this year as a 9th grader. Nat has played the string bass in the school orchestra. This spring he was selected to play in the all-regional orchestra and was selected to play in the all-state orchestra. Along with his music and sports, Nat is a straight A student participating in the accelerated English and math programs. He is a member of the National Junior Honor Society and a class representative on the Student Council.
Carl C. Conover.
Carl is the oldest son and 3rd child in a family of 9 children. Carl has been a very athletic young man. He has gone all the way from t-ball to the seniors in baseball. He has been on soccer teams, in wrestling, swimming, diving, and is now preparing for 9th grade football. Carl also enjoys music. He plays the piano and is currently a member of the Keno band playing the French horn. The out of doors has always been intriguing to Carl. He loves to climb mountains. Carl is active in his church and is preparing to go on a mission.
Jaron J. Fishback.
With the award of his Eagle rank, Jaron is well along a lifelong road of adventure, service, and achievement. Jaron is a good son. He enjoys and participates in many activities, including work projects at home, camping, ATC riding, and water skiing. Last year, he was on the All-Star baseball team of the Little League Senior Division. He enjoys all sports. At MacArthur Elementary School, he played the French horn in the band. Jaron is a straight A student at Keno Junior High. He becomes the 3rd and youngest son in his family of 9 children to receive his Eagle at age 13.
Jordan T. Flake.
Jordan has enjoyed various sports throughout his life. He has played Little League baseball, enjoys swimming competition, and was on a diving team. He also enjoys water and snow skiing, as well as riding horses and the out of doors. Jordan has an inquisitive mind which causes him to analyze subjects in great detail and depth. He enjoys a debate with adults and will defend his viewpoint with tenacity. To Two of Jordan's goals are to go on a mission and to go to college. He has a great commitment to the gospel and to choosing the right and will make a great missionary.
Stephen R. Flake.
Stephen has a great deal of energy and enjoys life with unique zest. He is particularly interested in drama and has enjoyed participating in school plays and in church drama productions. Stephen has little fear of people or things, which sometimes puts him in serious situations, which he can usually get out of unscathed. He has a deep love for the gospel and is firmly committed to obeying the law of the land and of God. One of the most unique things about Stephen is that he is especially fun to be around. There is always something happening wherever he is.
Quinn A. Gardner.
Quinn is the strong, protective big brother in his family of one older and two younger sisters. From the age of 7, Quinn has played soccer. His love of sports also extends to swimming, softball, basketball, football, tennis, water, and snow skiing. Quinn is a member of the National Junior Honor Society, and his goal is to attend Harvard. He plans to become a doctor, engineer, scientist, or pilot.
Russell J. Gould.
Russ has 2 older sisters and 2 young brothers. He is talented in using his hands and has become Mr. Fix-It around his home. Russell has shown great dedication and responsibility in doing his paper route daily over the past 3 years. Through his Eagle Project, Russ has learned some skills in construction, stick-to-itiveness, leadership, and patience. As he sees the joy his project brought the recipient family, it has helped him to recognize some of the pleasures found in service to others. He plans to serve a mission for his church and to always serve the Lord and his fellow men.
David A. Haynes.
David is the second son in a family of 3 sons and 5 daughters. He has always been a strong personality. He has a clear understanding of right and wrong, which has helped him to make good choices on many occasions. Known as the family tease, David has a fun-loving personality and loves competition. He excels in many sports. David desires to serve the Lord by fulfilling a mission and then plans to go to college. David is energetic, enthusiastic, and full of life. He is a hard worker and has many friends.
J. Noah Hayes.
Noah is the oldest son in a family of 3 sons and 5 daughters. He has a great love of the scriptures and often stays up late into the night reading them. He enjoys seminary and has served on the birthday committee and as class president. Basketball, baseball, softball, swimming, and snow skiing are some of Noah's favorite sports. He does well in most sports he tries because he works hard at them. Noah has also developed a love of acting and has participated in 2 plays at Keno Junior High and in the Ward Road shows. Noah is planning to serve a mission for his church, after which he plans to attend college.
Jason A. Jennings.
Jason's scouting career began in 1978. He raced through his wolf and bear ranks in good time, then set out to charge down the Arrow Point Trail. Jason entered the Blazer program with equal zest. Upon his call as an assistant patrol leader, he led his patrol in earning all 12 of the skill awards. He then went on to earn 26 merit badges for his Eagle. He also served as historian while on the High on a Mountaintop adventure with his troop. Jason is currently enrolled in a technical school along with his high school studies. His interests include playing a pretty mean guitar, raising pets, and working as a referee at a trap and skeet range.
David D. Lee.
David is the 4th child of 7 children. He is the 3rd son to achieve the high rank of Eagle Scout. He is a highly motivated individual who sets lofty goals for himself and has the discipline to achieve them. David is an honor student and is a member of the Junior Honor Society. As a member of the cross-country team, he won 1st place for his age group at the city meet. David is also an avid cyclist. Following his mission, David plans to attend college and earn a law degree.
Craig D. Loloff.
Craig is the second of 5 children. He has a great sense of humor and enjoys making people laugh and have a good time. He is always willing to help out neighbors and friends. Craig has always been close to his Heavenly Father and is looking forward to serving a mission. Sports, especially football, is becoming important to Craig's life, and he is hoping to make the 9th grade team next year. Craig is something of a ham and enjoys taking part in school plays. He is currently taking speech and drama and has taken part in many class plays and debates.
Chad J. Merrill.
Chad is number 6 in a family of 8 children. He has 2 older brothers who are Eagle Scouts. Chad is a wonderful musician. He plays the piano with great talent and expression. He also plays the trumpet in the Keno Junior High Wind Ensemble and the jazz band. Chad enjoys several sports. He plays basketball and was a member of the championship team this last year. Karate is another one of his favorite sports. He has earned his brown belt in 3 years of training. Chad also hopes to play tennis for Keno next year. Chad is a hard-working, sensitive, and dependable young man.
Michael G. Merrill.
Michael is the youngest child in his family. He has 1 sister and 3 brothers. Mike enjoys life. He has a lot of friends and enjoys doing things with them. He likes to play football, basketball, and softball. He also likes to water ski and play racquetball. Mike has served in leadership positions in scouting and is known for his dependability and his willingness to serve. Mike enjoys drawing and working with his hands. He also enjoys writing and thinks it might play a part in his future. Mike is considerate, thoughtful, and kind to others. Mike plans on going on a mission for his church. He has enjoyed his scouting experiences. The Scout Law has been an important part of his life.
Darren P. Nickel.
Darren is the 5th child in a family of 6 boys. He has lettered in both football and basketball in both his freshman and sophomore years. He received the Most Valuable Lineman Football Award his freshman year at Keno Junior High. He is now playing on the football team at Mountain View High School. Creativity comes easily to Darren. He is recognized for his ability to make posters and draw fun pictures. He is honest, hardworking, and carries out his assignments and responsibilities without supervision. Teenage years can be fun for parents, teens, and their friends when gospel principles are lived. Darren has a desire to live those principles.
Treg J. Ripley.
Treg is the oldest son and second child in a family of 4 children. He is a good student and enjoys sports. His interests range from quiet indoor activities to outdoor activities like camping, hunting, and fishing. Treg enjoys music. He plays the saxophone and French horn. He loves animals and has been raising rabbits, ducks, dogs, and a turtle. Treg is a hard worker. He has been a big help in all of his family's activities, from house remodeling to landscaping. Treg is very mechanically adept. He enjoys fixing motors that won't run, bikes that won't work, and other mechanical devices that constantly baffle his parents. Treg is a fine young man, and his family is very proud of him.
Nathan D. Stringfellow.
Nathan has enjoyed many scouting experiences through the years, such as campouts with his fellow scouts, making lasting friendships, and learning to serve and care about others. He has enjoyed playing Pop Warner football, basketball, and Little League baseball, receiving top player awards. Nate enjoys what life has to offer him and keeps involved in many activities. He is a good student and enjoys cooking for himself and his family. Nate has set some high goals in his life. He would like to serve a mission and then wants to attend college. Nate is the only son with older and younger sisters. His family is very proud of him for all that he has accomplished.
David L. Thompson.
David is the eldest son in his family, having 3 sisters and 1 brother. Dave has always been well liked by others and has had many good friends. He is sensitive to the needs of others. David has been gifted with the ability to excel in athletics. He has played on various teams in softball, baseball, soccer, wrestling, and varsity football. He played the trumpet for several years in various school bands. David was a member of the Symphonic Advanced Band. David has learned many valuable leadership skills. Recently, he organized and is coaching a City of Mesa League softball team. He has attended church regularly throughout his life and is appreciative of the good teachers and leaders who have instructed him and provided him with guidance.
Douglas W. Thompson.
Doug is the middle child in his family with an older brother and sister and 2 younger sisters. Douglas has the ability to see himself achieving success in whatever he chooses to do. As a result, his performances in sports have always been exciting for his family and satisfying for him. Doug has served as president of his school class, has been on the student council for 4 consecutive years, and is currently a vice president of a school-related business enterprise. Doug has many good friends. His teachers often comment about what a courteous young man he is and what a good contribution he makes to their classes.
Jeff L. Wimmer.
Jeff is the oldest son in his family, having 3 sisters and a younger brother. He has always enjoyed the outdoors and has participated in the camping, biking, and fishing activities of his scout troop and his family. Jeff works hard and thoroughly at his projects. He does well in school, is exceptional in math, and has completed 2 years of Spanish. Jeff has been active in many sports such as soccer, basketball, baseball, water, and snow skiing. He is sensitive to the needs of others and will quietly try to help someone in difficulty. Jeff makes sure his peer group holds to moral standards. He has been active in his church callings and plans to fulfill a mission and then go on to college.
Thomas L. Young.
Tom is the youngest of 2 children. He has a spunky, energetic personality and loves to be where the fun and action is. He loves people and has a forgiving nature and is never down for long. Tom loves all sports. His favorites are fishing, baseball, snow and water skiing, golfing, tennis, and watching football. His idea of heaven would be a big lake filled with large trout. Tom is a good worker. When he does a job, he does it well. Tom has been a leader at church, in scouting, and he was president of his 5th grade class. He is a conscientious student and does well in school. He wants to serve a mission for his church and graduate from college.
Sterling W. Jackson.
Sterling is one of 7 children, having 4 brothers and 2 sisters. He has many talents. He plays the piano and guitar and is a Class 2 gymnast, now competing for his 8th year. 2 years ago, Sterling won 1st place in the state gymnastic competition. He is an excellent student and is very gifted in art. One of his art pieces hangs in the children's wing of the Desert Samaritan Hospital. Sterling is kind and gentle. He has always been a special young man, very spiritual and sensitive towards others. Sterling is planning to be a missionary where he will use his talents to serve others.
Keith L. Millett.
Keith is the 5th child in his family, having 2 brothers and 4 sisters. Keith has been a happy, cheerful boy, spreading humor to lighten a casual or dreary moment. Soccer, golfing, softball, and cycling are the sports he has participated in. Keith has a dream of competing in the Tour de France when he becomes a more experienced cyclist. Keith works well with other people and is a hard worker. He respects those in authority over him. He appreciates the leaders that have encouraged, helped, and supported him.
Makes you feel terrific to be around such accomplished and handsome young men, doesn't it? 3 dedicated scout leaders who've spent countless hours working collectively and individually with our young men will now spend just a few more minutes in their behalf. Scoutmaster Dee Burrell will speak first, followed by Explorer Advisor Larry Windward, and the final 43rd Ward Scout leader to address us will be Wayne Gardner, varsity coach. Dee?
I'd like for Jaron Fishbeck to stand up, please. Jaron is currently serving as the senior patrol leader for the scout troop He's a good example of a young man who has a determined goal of completing a project. He is a good leader. He has a tradition to follow, and he's doing very well to support his end of this tradition. For Jaron's project, he, with the help of his father and other scouts, put a cement slab over at Candlelight Park so that some tables could be added there for picnicking and other activities. Again, it's part of the tradition of the family to do something that would be there and stick around for a while. I appreciate Jaron and his willingness to be the senior patrol leader of these young men in our scout troop. Chad Merrill, please stand. Chad is the assistant senior patrol leader for Troop 430. Chad's Eagle project was to put some signs on some trails that a lot of young women follow during the summer up at Camp Lomaya. I'm told that many times even the men advisors that go along to help can't find their way back or find the way where they're going because the trail can't be found. And Chad was there to help mark these trails so that these people can get to and from their destinations without being lost so often. Chad is very sensitive. I was interested and I wished I would have heard what they had to say about him before tonight, but I had planned. Chad has a very large heart for caring about how other people feel. And I've seen him many times go out of his way to help another young man and somebody else feel good about themselves. He likes to have people make him feel good also, as we all do. Chad is also the president of his Deacons Quorum, and Jaron is the president of his Deacons Quorum. I feel very honored to have been working with these two young men and being a part of their Eagle project. I'm very proud to have been a part of this and recommend them very wholeheartedly to you as good examples of young men that have earned the rank of Eagle.
I'm sure many of you had the same impressions as I did as I saw this beautifully done video. To see the talent and the capabilities of these fine young men. I commented to Dee Burrell, the scoutmaster for many years of these young men. I'd wondered why he'd aged so much over the last 8 to 10 years. It's pretty obvious with the talent and the independence and the strong personalities that these young men have exhibited why this has occurred. I say that in all due respect. As a boy becomes 16 and is eligible to become an Explorer Scout, it's infinitely more difficult for them to achieve the rank of Eagle. Let me explain why. Many of them have discovered girls and are dating. Others have discovered automobiles and are now have their driver's license. Many of them have jobs. Many of them are involved in sports. High school becomes more difficult than junior high and elementary school. And I'm proud to say, because of the strong tradition in our organization, in our ward sponsoring unit, that of the 24 Explorer Scouts, we have 23 have achieved the rank of Eagle. I'd like to have David Thompson stand up, please. David is a fine young man. David is one of the older boys in our exploring unit. David's Eagle project was a food-raising project for the Child Crisis Center. He independently, honestly, with very little help of mine and the other adult leaders, organized some of his friends and the young men, and they went out and gathered this food and canned goods and delivered it to the Child Crisis Center, which at that time was in great need of their help. When David was younger, he was very active in scouting, and as many boys that turned 16, his energies became diverted slightly. And I'm excited that his parents never lost hope or faith in David, and because of their faith and their perseverance and of other leaders, David had the courage to get back on the trail. And I don't want to embarrass David too much, but as you saw in the video, he's really into sports. David has organized the softball team you've heard about. And about 2 months ago, our Explorer group organized our own softball team. And as we met one day, prior to a game, our coach asked all the boys if there was anyone that would like to offer a prayer prior to the game. And to our surprise, David raised his hand and said, "Yes, I'd like to be the one to give the prayer." 6 months prior, I'm not sure I could have counted on David to do that, but he had the courage to change, get his life on track, and in the board of review we had for his Eagle, David said that he's had the courage to change, to get his life in order, and plans to go on a mission for the church. And I'm very proud of David and David's accomplishments. Would Keith Millett please stand? Keith is another fine young man that is very athletically inclined, is very dependable. Keith chose as his project a paint restoration project of a 1912 tractor, International tractor, down at the Lehigh Mesa Farm Museum. We were anxious with David's activities, his work and his job and his other involvements in bike racing. We were concerned that Keith would have time to complete the project in time. Some of the adult leaders tried to meet with Keith a few times and advise him ways to cut corners to make his project go faster. Keith would not hear of this. It had to be sanded properly, the dirt had to be taken off properly, it had to be steam sprayed, there had to be a primer put on and a final coat with sanding again. And I was very impressed with Keith's detail and his desire to stick to the plan and his perseverance. Thank you. Our final young man is Jason Jennings. Jason, would you please stand? As many of you saw, as a younger scout, Jason was very active, and I believe at the age of 9 had burned through 3 Cub Scout books basically, and was just waiting for a few more months to achieve his ranks because of the time frame involved in waiting. Jason got diverted in his younger years as a young teenager by the choice of some friends that led him in paths that were not exactly proper. Jason made the desire, had a great desire to change his life. At about the age of 15 and a half, 16, had the courage to change. And about a year and a half ago, his parents started to call me, and I hadn't seen David out in our exploring unit or at church for some time. And Jason, I'm sorry. Jason, his parents, his father especially, would contact me about weekly and say, "Brother Windward, Jason's going to be contacting you very soon to work on his Eagle project." And I said, "Fine, I'll believe it when I see it." And his parents would, on a regular basis, tell me this. And sure enough, after about 2 or 3 months of their hope and faith on his behalf, Jason started calling me. And over a period of about 4 or 5 months, the barbecue you've heard about in Candlelight Park, that we now fondly refer to as Jason's Barbecue, became a reality. And I drove by the barbecue after the project was completed on several occasions and saw Jason there with some of his friends fondly admiring their work. And I knew that we'd certainly achieved our objective. Jason learned leadership. He learned how to raise funds when it's tough. He and I made 4 or 5 weekly trips attempting to raise, I think, $175, and the goal was achieved. I'm really proud of Jason. In his board of review, he committed to helping scouts through the years as he grows and matures. He committed to be a scoutmaster should the need arise when he becomes older, and he committed to helping out other young men. Thank you, Jason. In short, As you can see, I'm very proud of these young men. They've all earned the rank of Eagle. They've worked hard for it. They've had the courage to change their lives where needed. Their parents and leaders did not lose faith, but kept faith and hope in these young men, and you can see what they've achieved. Thank you.
During the 100-Year War, England had virtually destroyed France. A mere 8,000 Englishmen had wiped out over 60,000 Frenchmen. French courage had been paralyzed. France had been reduced to little more than a British province. However, there was a 13-year-old girl named Joan. Joan believed that she had been called, that she had a mission, that there was a purpose for her. She believed that God wanted her to help raise or break the British siege, to liberate France from England, and to once again have a king crowned for France. No one believed that this little peasant girl could do it. However, at the age of 17, she had prepared herself and was ready to march forward and attack the British. No one else dare attack the British. No one else dared. Finally, she was given command of what was left of the emaciated French army. Through training and battling, soon the siege at Orleans was raised. France was liberated, and once again it was able to crown her own king, Dauphin, the great king. Later, however, she was treacherously betrayed and sold to the British. She was offered her freedom if she would but surrender what she believed. She refused and was sentenced and condemned to burn to the stake. Later, even as the torches were put at the base of the stake, lighting that fire at which she would be consumed, she was promised her freedom if she would but surrender her belief. She refused and said in response, "Every man gives his life for what he believes. Every woman gives her life for what she believes. Sometimes people believe in little or nothing, yet they give their lives to that little or nothing. One life is all we have, and we live it as we believe in living it, and then it's gone. But to surrender what you are and to live without belief, that's more terrible than dying, more terrible than dying young." To what have these 26 men given their lives? Have they believed in little or nothing? I invite you to be the judge. When each man joined scouting, he took upon himself an oath, promise, or a belief, which is as follows: "On my honor, I will do my duty to God and my country, to obey the scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight." Now let us examine the lives of these young men. Let us see if they have lived without belief. Let's see if they have surrendered what they are. The first, duty to God. How has each man shown his duty to God? On any given Sunday, 100% of the varsity scouts can be found in priesthood, Sunday school, and sacrament meetings. Every week they give of themselves willingly for their church. every one of them is planning on a mission and is currently saving money to go on that proselyting mission. Duty to country. Each man has learned and been tested in citizenship in the community, state, and nation. Each one has reviewed the Mesa City budget. Each one has visited the state capitol. Each one has written to his legislator to express his personal opinions about an issue. Each has been an example to his peers in honoring and sustaining and obeying the law. Have they helped other people? Each of these men have worked on an average of 14 different projects, not counting their own Eagle Service project. They have individually done countless hours and acts of kindness to others. They have lived with the slogan, "Do a good turn daily." The third one, duty to self, to keep myself physically strong. Each of these young men have been involved in sports. Each has passed emergency preparedness or life-saving. Each has passed personal fitness, swimming, or sports. Each has excelled in sports to some degree or another. Mentally awake. Most of these men are good students. Most of them are. Many are A students. Some are accomplished musicians. But all have worked mentally with goals preparing themselves for the future. They believe in being prepared. Morally straight. These men have been taught by goodly parents. They believe their body is a temple. They have learned to respect their body and the bodies of others. These are straight arrows. They are morally clean. Each has earned at least 21 merit badges, including first aid, citizenship in the community, state, and nation, communication, safety, emergency preparedness or life-saving, environmental science, personal management, personal fitness or swimming or sports, camping, and each man has planned, financed, directed, and carried out his own Eagle project. During the last 2.5 months alone, over 2,200 man-hours of service have been given to their church, school, or community. Think of it. Over 2,200 man-hours in the last 2.5 months. These men have given their lives. That is, they have not surrendered what they believe. I would like for you to meet each one of these men. I would like to ask them to stand and to face the audience and to remain standing as I call their name. Dee Burrell and Larry Windward have already told you of their scouts. However, I would like to also invite them to stand and face the audience as I call their name. D.J. Anderson. D.J. Anderson planted trees in the Mountain View Mesa City Park. Mike Boren. Mike Boren also planted trees in the Mountain View Mesa City Park. Damian Budge. Damian Budge organized a blood drive benefiting the Arizona Blood Bank services. Nat Clarkson. Nat Clarkson planted over 1,400 seedling trees in the Sitgraves National Forest in a burnout area. Carl Conover. Carl Conover designed and constructed educational and entertaining equipment for the severely handicapped at the Parkway School. Jaron Fishbeck. Jaron Fishbeck designed and constructed a Ramada base for the Candlelight Mesa City Park. Jordan Flake. Jordan Flake also planted over 1,400 seedling trees in the Sitgraves National Park in a burnout area. Brother Stephen Flake. Stephen Flake also planted over 1,400 seedling trees in the Sitgraves National Park or in a burnout area. Quentin Gardner totally re-landscaped the Cactus Desert Museum at the Mormon, Arizona Temple. Russell Gould designed and constructed a reclining wheelchair. Think about it. Have you ever seen a reclining wheelchair? So that a severely handicapped girl could once again attend school for the first time in several years. David Haynes collected food for the needy in Mexico. Brother Noah Haynes organized a clothing drive for the needy in Mexico. I would add, and they went to Mexico. Sterling Jackson rebuilt and painted birdhouses and restored a bridge and a desert park trail. Jason Jennings purchased and installed a barbecue pit in the Candlelight, Mesa City Park. David Lee restored and marked a trail in the Usury Park Pass. Craig Loloff organized a paper drive for the Mesa Child Crisis Center. Mike Merrill restored and put on exhibit a section of the Palo Verde Redwood wooden water pipeline for the Mesa Historical Society. Chad Merrill restored the Pine Canyon and marked the Pine Canyon Trail, on which many people have been lost over the past 3 or 4 years. Keith Millett degreased, sanded, primed, and painted a Farmall F12 antique tractor for the Mesa Historical Society Museum. Darren Nickel identified and made signs for the Mesa, Arizona the Mesa, Arizona Temple Cactus Garden. Treg Ripley designed and installed a horseshoe pit for the Candlelight Mesa City Park. Nate Stringfellow organized a food, clothing, and cash drive for the poor and the needy. David Thompson organized a canned food drive for the Mesa Child Crisis Center. Brother Doug Thompson marked and identifying and made signs for a bike route in the streets of the city of Mesa. Jeff Wimmer planted trees in the Hermosa Vista Mesa City Park and continues to water and care for those trees. Tommy Young sold American flags in his neighborhood and donated the proceeds from the sale of his flags to the Mesa Child Crisis Center. As I have previously mentioned to you, these men have given are responsible for the giving of over 2,200 man-hours of service to their church, school, and community in the last 2.5 months alone. Parents, because of these men, your homes are better homes. Mayor Rubach, because of these men, Mesa is a better Mesa. Secretary of State Shumway, because of these men, Arizona is a better Arizona. United States Senator McCain, the United States is a better United States, and the world is a better world. Elder Featherstone, the Aaronic priesthood bearers in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are better bearers of the Aaronic priesthood. Elder Featherstone, Senator McCain, Secretary of State Shumway, Mayor Rubach, parents, friends, and neighbors, brothers and sisters, these men have kept the Scout oath or promise. They have not surrendered their beliefs. They have not surrendered what they are. They have lived with a great and a strong belief. The Savior said, "By your fruits ye shall know them." Do ye know these young men? Do you enjoy a better quality of life because of them? In your own minds, how have you judged them? Have they earned the lofty rank of eagle? These 26 men are different from other men of the world. I challenge you to find any other 26 young men that are not Eagle Scouts. And I will guarantee you that these men have given more to God and to their country. I will guarantee you that these 26 men will have given more to other people. I will guarantee you that these 26 men are more physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. These men are the elite. These men are in the top 3% of all who have ever joined Scouting. These men have earned the lofty rank of Eagle Scout. Please join me with a polite approval if you approve of them being made Eagle Scouts. Men, you may be seated. Now, young men, because of what you have done, tonight you will be made Eagle Scouts. You have laid an excellent foundation for your future lives. You have entered Scouting to learn your duty. Don't surrender what you are. Don't surrender what you believe. Go forward now with Scouting. I challenge you to continue to do your duty to God. I challenge you to continue to do your duty to country. I challenge you to continue to help other people at all times. I challenge you to continue to be physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Thank you.
Well, we've just been given more than a hint as to why we have 26 Eagle Scouts. These leaders and their dedication, coupled with their parents, have certainly made a difference with that effort expended by these young men. These good performances, any good performance, deserves high praise. What a treat it will be now to hear that praise coming from our next speakers. President Hakes will speak to all of us, and specifically to the boys next. He will be followed by Mayor Rubach and Secretary of State, Brother Jim Shumway. Senator John McCain, United States Senator, will then conclude this portion of the program.
I add my congratulations to you young men of the Aaronic priesthood for your accomplishment in attaining the rank of Eagle Scout and so being honored tonight. You're great young men, and I deem it a great honor and privilege to serve as your stake president. As I looked over the list, I counted that 5 of your older brothers and 1 older sister I've had the opportunity to interview and send on missions for the church. And I hope that each one of you have set the goal in your own lives that that's what you want to do. And as I heard the story of your lives, that was said about most of you, and I'm sure those that wasn't said about have that feeling. Your labors as scouts have taught you a lot of skills that will help you throughout your lives. Some of you will have the opportunity to use these skills in perhaps saving the life of someone else. You've done a lot of great things in service to our community as they outlined your various projects that you've been involved in. And as it tells us in the scriptures, when we serve our fellow men, we are serving our God. And so certainly you've done that. I want you to know that I love you very much. And I hope that you'll set goals now to do greater things, that you'll have a desire to serve, that as you become adults, you'll have the opportunity and will help others in scouting and other phases of their lives, that they might have the same great opportunities and blessings that you do. May the Lord bless you in all that you do. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here to share this very historic occasion, not only for your stake, but for the community of Mesa. I don't believe this has ever happened before. Hopefully it will happen again in the quantity that we have here before us this afternoon. Very often when we serve the community, and I am honored by the position that you have allowed me to have, you wonder, what does the future hold for Mesa? Inviting me today has recharged my batteries. I have no fear that Mesa will be in good hands in the future. I am probably looking at the future of Mesa and many communities across this country that will be enriched by the talent, dedication, and commitment of you young men in the future. From national forests to our City of Mesa parks, to blood donor drives, the Child Crisis Center, helping those who are physically challenged or in need, I stand in awe of the time and effort that you have placed your community and people above self. That's part of the lifelong learning that your family, your church, your schools, and your friends want you to continue on the path towards. Your goal setting. Tonight, you look down from the mountain, new eagles. You're soaring high and proud. But like the song that Bette Midler has that I think is currently fairly popular, The Wind Beneath Your Wings, I think you need to remember, take a moment from your high perch and remember all the people, your family, your parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters that helped and maybe hindered on occasion your efforts, your leaders, and your teachers, because they have been, for many, many months and many, many years, the wind beneath your wings. Never forget that. Wherever you go in this world, whatever you do, whatever high position you may achieve, there are always many, many people out there that are the wind beneath your wings. Never forget that. Fly high and free and proud. Thank you.
On behalf of the great state of Arizona, as the Secretary of State, I'm very proud to be here today and witness these 26 young men and their efforts. Brings back considerable memories. The old Tempe First Ward, as I was introduced by my bishop to my scoutmaster and said he's now going to be in scouting and let's try to make eagles. We worked very hard. Some of us made it and some didn't. But I do remember many of the things that scouting taught me many years ago. I remember the skills that we worked on, things that we were able to accomplish. Life-saving, swimming, welding and blacksmithing, electrical work, and the list can go on, as many of you know, you young men who have earned your awards and your merit badges. I remember my scoutmasters very well. In fact, I just a few weeks ago, or actually it's been a few months ago, had a chance to visit with a stake president who was my scoutmaster. Brings back great memories. You'll remember your leaders for many years to come and the efforts that they made in your behalf. One of the great things that I see in scouting is what we've heard about today, and that's the service. You know, the Savior said, "Come follow me." Set a great example for all of us. And he was totally about service to his fellow men. And we've seen that exemplified again here today in these young men. Scout projects, Eagle Scout projects. My son and I are working on his currently. He got me out of bed early this morning, started about 7 o'clock. He's on his way to becoming an Eagle. I'm proud of the scouting movement and having it part of my past and part of my future. On behalf of the state today, we will present to each of you Eagles the following scroll, and if I may read it, I think it's important for us to hear just a word or two of this great message. It is with a great deal of personal pride that I acknowledge the achievements of these 26 scouts. Rarely does an office holder have the opportunity of bringing praise to people who have participated in a system in which he has personally worked to enhance for more than 35 years. The attributes gained in following the long, arduous trail of the Eagle Scout are the building blocks of your success 20, 30, and 50 years from today. Eagle Scouts represent power, patriotism, pride, qualities that are admired, qualities that are demanded in the 21st century. 11 years in the future brings the turn of the millennium. There will be few, if any, more prepared to meet the challenges than those holding the rank of Eagle Scout. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and affixed the great seal of the state of Arizona. Signed, Jim Shumway, Secretary of State. Scouts, congratulations.
Thank you for inviting me here to be a part of this very momentous and indeed historic occasion. To the Scoutmasters and the staff, thank you for making this a historic occasion. Without your dedication and obvious, as we have seen, dedication and eloquent dedication to these young citizens, this event would not be possible. To the parents, I only hope someday that I and Cindy can sit as you are tonight behind our two sons. They have not embarked on their project, as one is 3 years old and one is 1, but I hope that they will begin soon. We live in the last few weeks and months in a very interesting time in the history of this world. The winds of change are sweeping around this globe in a fashion which none of us here, no matter how old we may be, have ever seen. We've seen in our own country the tragedy of of watching for the first time in the over 200-year history of this country the Speaker of the House of Representatives removed from office because of allegations of misconduct in violation of his oath to the people of the state of Texas and to the people of this nation. We have seen an obvious need for a change in behavior on the part of our elected representatives. Perhaps it would be well if our elected representatives could remember many of the things that are reiterated here tonight concerning the Boy Scouts of America. We have seen the winds of change. None of us thought here that we would live so long, that we would see the largest communist nation in the world having thousands and thousands, indeed up to 1 million young people, erecting in their main square a statue which closely resembles that of the Statue of Liberty of this nation. If there has ever been a greater affirmation of the fact that this nation is a beacon of hope and freedom for everyone throughout the world, as you will see as you go on your mission, it has been certainly amply authenticated by the events that we have seen, in fact, which, as you know, today have turned very tragically in China. Although those young people, I can assure you, have put that nation inexorably on a path to what they know of as democracy and freedom, and frankly, they're not sure exactly what it is. But they know that they want to remove the yoke of communist oppression from themselves and their families and their children and their children's children. And I would suggest to you that this nation, if we are going to continue to be that beacon of hope and freedom, we need the dedication and the example of the young men that we honor here tonight. I praise you. I urge you to continue in scouting. I urge you to continue to be part of our community and recognize that this nation and this community needs you as perhaps never before to commit yourselves to your God and your country. Thank you.
President Hakes, Mayor Rubach, Secretary of State Shumway, and Senator McCain, thank you so very much for sharing your time and your thoughts with us tonight. We'll now be favored with a special musical number by Chris Leloff, John Campbell, Darrell Smith, Brothers Scott and Chad Burrell, and Brothers Rob and Jeff Pickles, all Eagle Scouts. It's now my pleasure to introduce E. Earl Sonny Hayes, who is the Theodore Roosevelt Area Council's Chief Scout Executive.
It's a great joy to serve as the Scout Executive of the Theodore Roosevelt Council and
to participate in a special day like today with these incredible Eagle Scouts that we've all met. It's also a joy to sit in the company of those at the front of the chapel today. There are some important folks up here, leaders that we all admire and respect from all walks of life. But I submit to you none more important than the three folks I'd like to ask to stand once again. Dee Burrell, Larry Winward, and Wayne Gardner. Would you please stand? Please remain standing for just a moment. There's some very special things, some very magical things about the program of scouting. To me, it's as simple as bringing a young boy together with a man of good character. Undoubtedly, other than Mom and Dad, these are the three proudest men in the chapel today. I shook their hands when I came in. I know how they feel. And for their commitment to scouting and for these lives that they have especially touched, we express our thanks once again. Congratulations. I'd like to ask these 26 Eagles to stand once again and face the chapel there. Would you fellas just turn around there for a moment? Now, have you ever seen 26 better-looking people in one place in your entire life? Well, how about that? Okay, guys. How great it would be if we could hear from each of these young fellows individually today and how scouting has touched their lives. But in just a couple of moments, through a poem entitled, "I'm Really an Eagle," perhaps these thoughts express their thoughts at this very special moment. The day is here. I waited for it all these many years. I see my mother's eyes and know she's pretty close to tears. My hands are really sweaty. My throat is dry as chalk. I hope my voice won't crackle when it comes my turn to talk. The younger scouts are looking at me differently today, or maybe I imagine it. I guess I couldn't say. My uniform feels good somehow. My merit sash is on. It used to be uncomfortable, but now that feeling's gone. I think of all the badges I collected on my way. Some of them seem simpler now than they did yesterday. I do recall when I was young, one almost made me cry, and yes, another one I did. I thought that I would die. When I was just a little kid, the first night into Scouts, I dropped some things and made some noise and thought I'd get kicked out. But then one of the older boys, a real-life Eagle Scout, turned around and smiled at me. "I'll help you, later, Scout." He cared. This big Scout really cared about a brand new boy. That day became a turning point, this troop a special joy. I think of that boy sometimes, though I don't know where he's at, and wonder if a younger scout could think of me like that. The friendships that I've made seem best of all the things I've done. And now this other feeling, a feeling like I've won. I like the special feeling that I have deep inside. I guess if I could name it, I would have to call it pride. I would like to ask each of you fellows to take the Scout sign, if you would, at this time, and repeat the Eagle Scout promise after me. Please take the Scout sign and repeat as follows. As an Eagle Scout,
I reaffirm my allegiance to the three promises of the Scout Oath. I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself the obligations and responsibilities of the rank of Eagle Scout. On my honor, I will do my best to make my training an example. My rank and my influence count strongly for better scouting and for better citizenship. In my troop, in my community, and in my contacts with other people, always. To this I pledge my sacred honor. Two. Representing the Theodore Roosevelt Council Fellows, and on behalf of its board, and certainly on behalf of the leaders of the Great Mesa District, let me express our pride once again in you climbing Scouting's highest mountain today. Congratulations. And you may be seated.
Members of the church are always thrilled to be in the presence of a general authority and to be instructed by them. It is no less so tonight, as we are privileged to have Elder Vaughn J. Featherstone in our midst. We will now devote some time to listening to Brother Featherstone.
To you who are distinguished guests, and to these wonderful 26 young men who have achieved the rank of Eagle, to all of you who are interested in this great night, I add to yours my personal congratulations. I always try when I can to wear a silver beaver, which is awarded at council level, a silver antelope that is awarded at regional level, and the silver buffalo awarded at national level. For you see, I would not have earned these except for my callings in the church. They're not really awards for Vaughn Featherstone. They're awards that the church has earned, and I happen to have been the recipient through my scouting positions. I never would have earned them except my callings in the church. And I wanted these young men to know what serving in the church and filling the callings and scouting and the different things that come to us. Actually, we walk in high places and marvelous things happened. President Ronald Reagan was telling about a man who answered the door, and when he answered the door, there was a woman there, and she said, "Do you own a dog?" And he said, "As a matter of fact, I do." And she said, "What kind is it?" And he said, "It's a black pit bull." She said, "Uh-oh." He said, "What do you mean, uh-oh?" She said, "I think my dog just killed it." "Your dog killed my black pit bull? What kind of a dog do you have?" And she said, "A Pekingese." "You mean your Pekingese killed my black pit bull? How could that happen?" And she said, "It stuck in his throat." Well, I have that feeling tonight to see 26 young men receive the rank of Eagle. It sticks in my throat. I have a very tender heart. And Jim Kelson's boy went to the barber and he said, "If you wouldn't mind, I'd like you to have you cut this sideburn, leave it very long and very thick and bushy. And if you wouldn't mind, cut this one very short and keep it thin. And then if you wouldn't mind, take a swatch out of my hair on this side and then a big chunk out of my hair on the other side." And the barber said, "I can't do that." And he said, "Well, you did last time." Well, I don't know. But anyway, it's nice to relax with you for a minute and just visit about some of the great things that have happened here. I was in Hawaii this past Sunday, and we had the opportunity on that day of going up to the Punch Bowl, where there are the graves of 32,000 servicemen represented there. And at 2 o'clock, a wonderful talk was given by a general who is located in Hawaii. And then thousands of scouts laid a lei on every single grave and then stuck an American flag there. We were privileged to assist in this, and as I walked and stuck flags at each one of the bases of those memorials to the young men that had died in the service, I came across one, and chills began to go up and down my back, and I guess I got a little emotional and stood there, and tears watered my eyes. It just simply had unknown. Quite often we go through life, and a lot of the great things that are accomplished by many who are notorious, but there are a lot who are unknown, that plod through life, and they're honest, and they have integrity. And I guess that's what we're taught as we go through scouting, that we can actually make a difference. George Dawson was the northern explorer, and the great northern city was named after him, Dawson. He served his entire adult life in the backwoods of Canada, winter and summer. He was only a little over 5 feet tall. He was small in frame and had serious respiratory diseases. He died at the relatively young age of something like 52 or 53. When they buried him at the funeral service, those that had spent the time with him out in the backwoods of Canada honored him in these words, and tell him, the men he worked with say, judging as best they can, that in lands that try manhood hardest, he was tested and proven a man. I suppose, young men, if you grow up and all they can say about you when it's all over is he was a man. I've asked my wife, if you feel like, and the children feel like I merit it, and you know what the standard is as far as I'm concerned, if you want to put on my tombstone anything, an epitaph, don't. Just simply put, here lies a man. And if you do that, I'd be terribly proud and terribly honored if you feel like I really deserve it. But don't do it unless everyone agrees that I deserve it. And I think that's what scouting does. It helps us to measure up. I have 6 sons, and they're all Eagle Scouts. And one of them came to me after his second boy was born. He said, I don't think he can hear. So we administered to him. It's something we do in the church when we bless our children and others. And we administered to him. The next day they took him to the doctor, and they ran him through all the tests at the primary children's hospital. And that afternoon, this young man came to the office and opened the door, closed it behind him, and he stood in the doorway. And then he began to weep, and he just shuddered with emotion. He said, Dad, he's totally deaf. I went over and I hugged him in my arms, and then we sat down and visited. And if the Lord would have let me, I would have given my hearing that quick, if he would have let me trade places. But the Lord doesn't do things like that. Their third little son came along, and he was deaf. And they didn't know whether they dared. That's a real handful for a young mother and young father. And they tried again, and they had their baby this Wednesday. And they ran him through the tests on Thursday, and I had a call to call the hospital. And when I called the hospital, Scott answered, and he began to weep, and he couldn't talk. And when after a long moment had passed, and I didn't dare say anything, hadn't dared hope. But I remembered back to the night before when I said, Scott, what if he's deaf? And he said, well, God sent 2 little giants in my home. I guess if he thinks we can handle another one, we'll take him. And that was his attitude. But I said, finally, when Scott could speak, he said, Dad? And I said, yes. And he said, this one can hear. And I wept. They had thought they'd like to name him maybe Samuel or Alex or Alexander. And I said, maybe if you'll turn to the 3rd chapter of 1 Samuel, verse 10, you might find the answer. And that states, speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. I'm grateful for scouting. I can't tell you the kinds of obstacles all of our families and your families will have. We live in a day of testing and trials. Heber C. Kimball said, we think we are secure here in the chambers of the everlasting hills, where we can close those few doors against the mobs and the persecutors, the wicked and the vile, who always besiege us with violence and robbery. But I say unto you, my brethren, the time is coming when we will be all mixed up in these now peaceful valleys, to that extent that it will be difficult to tell the face of a saint from a face of the enemy to the people of God. Mark well that statement. Then, brethren, beware of the great sieve, for there will come a great sifting time, and many will fall. For I say unto you, there is a test coming, and who shall be able to stand? And as I've thought about that, we're in that time of testing. President Harold B. Lee said we'd be tested every month of our lives. I don't think that's just us. I think anyone on this stand will readily accept the fact that every single month something happens that we're tested. And the rough pieces are kind of knocked off until we become, as Joseph said, maybe, hopefully, a polished granite stone of some kind, maybe a diamond in the rough. General Antigonus had never lost a battle. All of his men were gathered on one side of the mountain, the defile below, and then all the other men on the other side, the enemy. They were outnumbered something like 5 or 10 to 1. General Antigonus, having not lost a battle, called his men together, the captains. They decided on a particular strategy, and then he sent his men down to announce what the strategy was, and then they would all attack on a given signal. The signal was given, but no one attacked. In fact, they were about ready to retreat ingloriously. And General Antigonus called the chief captains back together, and he said, "Why wouldn't you attack? Why didn't the men attack? The signal was given." And they said, "Not only will they not attack, but they're about ready to retreat." And he said, "Why?" "Because we're outnumbered 10 to 1. And General Antigonus walked out across the opening. Then he looked out across the battlefield. Then he turned around, and with a faraway look in his eye, he said, "How many do you count me for? How many do you count an Eagle Scout for, a Spencer Kimball, or how many do you count a President Benson for? How many can Von Featherstone be counted for? I hope it's better than 1-on-1. I hope it's 10 to or 80 or 100 to 1. I hope we're making that much difference in all that we do." I had not heard this cute poem that was read earlier about an Eagle Scout, and I hadn't ever heard of an Eagle Scout poem having been written, and I thought one ought to be written, and I'd like to share that with you. A different sort as an Eagle Scout. He's as good on the inside as the out. True to his God and his nation's flag, a boy whose loyalties never sag. An upright boy with a heart of gold. He can take the heat and he can stand the cold. An adventurous sort of a rough, tough lad. He'd share with anyone all that he had. He's cheerful and good and he's filled with fun. He always helps till the work is done. No loafer is he, this young man with skill. He has a disciplined heart and mind and will. He camps and cooks, he hikes and climbs. He can sing a song or make a verse that rhymes. You can trust an eagle with all you own. You can count on him when the chips are down. He's a splendid youth with a lifetime goal. He's the type of boy who's in control. A rare breed is this young Eagle Scout who's as good on the inside as the out. So honor the Eagle Scout and model his deeds. He'll plow rich soil and plant good seeds. There are no better young men in this great land than an Eagle Scout with a helping hand. I have great confidence in these young men and all that they will do. Now let me just conclude with this thought. Joseph F. Smith said, "After we have done all we can for the cause of truth and withstood the evil men have brought upon us, it is still our duty to stand. We cannot give up. We must not lie down. Great causes are not won in a single generation. To stand firm in the face of overwhelming opposition and to continue on is the courage of faith. And the courage of faith is the courage of progress. Men who have this divine quality cannot stop. They cannot stand still if they would. They're not creatures of their own wisdom or power. They are instrumentalities of a higher or divine purpose. These young 26 scouts who have achieved the rank of Eagle have a higher or divine purpose more than they would ever suppose. God bless you and God bless them, and congratulations, young men, on behalf of the Young Men's Presidency of the Church, Quorum of the 12 and the First Presidency. We extend our greeting. We love you and we're proud of you, terribly proud of what you'll do. And one day, many of you, most of you, will walk in high places in one way or the other. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Brother Shumway is asked to be excused, and he has another commitment. Well, we've now come to that very special moment that most of these boys have waited for since they first entered scouting. That is the presentation of their Eagle badge. At the same time, they'll be receiving some other items this evening. The presenters tonight will be Elder Featherstone, who will give to the boys their Eagle badge. Senator John McCain and Mayor Rubach will give letters of congratulations. Mayor Rubach has consented to give that letter of congratulations that would have been presented by the Secretary of State. Sonny Hayes will give a personal letter of congratulations that will be within the Eagle kit that he will distribute. President Hakes will give the Trail to the Eagle plaque. I'm sure you've seen that. It's a very wonderful item, and he's going to present this evening. Jay Heim will present a letter of congratulations from Ben Love, who is the Chief Scout Executive of the Boy Scouts of America. Cal Heron will give a letter of congratulations from our governor. Dee Burrell, letter of congratulations from President Ford. Wayne Gardner, a letter of congratulations from President Reagan. Larry Windward, a congratulatory card from President Bush. And I'll be pleased to give a copy of the Congressional Record, wherein their accomplishments have now been made a permanent part of the record of the United States. It's now my pleasure to introduce Bill Cunningham, Ward Bishop of the 43rd Ward, who will introduce and call the boys to the stand.
Well, today, note that of the 26 boys receiving their Eagle Award, we have 3 sets of brothers among our groups. Dale E. Anderson, Jr. Michael S. Orr. Damian W. Fudge. Nathaniel R. Carson. Carl C. Conway. Jared J. Fishbeck. Jordan T. Blake. Stephen R. Blake. Gwen A. Gardner. Russell J. Gould. David A. Hayes. J. Noah Hayes. Sterling W. Jackson. Jason A. James. David B. Lee. Greg E. Law. Chad J. Merrill. Mike G. Merrill. Keith L. Dillon. Darren B. Nickel.
Eagle Scouts, please be seated. Our concluding speaker tonight is Mr. Jay Heim, National Director of Eagle Scout Services for the Boy Scouts of America, who after his remark will form the Eagle's Nest and then invite the new Eagles to join that nest. Mr. Heim.
In my hand, I'm holding a pen. There's nothing particularly special about this pen. I think it cost me $1.49. It was conceived, designed, engineered, put into production. By now, tens of millions of people have bought pens just like this for $1.49. The difference between this pen and all of the others is that it's in my hand. And the words that it writes depend not on it, but on me. If this pen had been in the hands of Catherine Lee Bates, it would have had the power to write the words of our great American hymn, "Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea." This pen had been in the hands of Lord Robert Baden-Powell, the founder of World Scouting. He would have had the power to write the words of the precepts of our Scout movement. As we say them in the United States, "On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, and to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight." This pen had been in the hands of a tall, tired president riding in a railroad coach across the Pennsylvania countryside. It would have had the power to write on the back of an envelope, 87 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all people are free and equal. But now this pen is in my hands, and the words that it writes depend on me and not it. The duties and obligations as Eagle Scouts are in your hands. You will be an Eagle Scout for the rest of your life. Once the Eagle Scout service awards the flagship rank, it'll never be taken back, no matter what you do in life. Whatever you do, you'll do as Eagle Scouts. There is no end to the Eagle Scout Trail. And my message to you today, you 26, is you are writing a gospel day by day in all that you do and all that you say. People will read what you write, whether faithless or true. So what is the gospel going to be according to you? I would ask now, with the exception of the 26, for all Eagle Scouts in the audience to come forward and take a place behind us. with the authority of the National Council of Boy Scouts of America, I declare these 26 Eagle Scouts and ask that they come forward to the Eagle Scout path. How grateful we are to all who have participated in this Eagle Court, those who traveled far and rearranged schedules so that they might bring to our new Eagles and to us the night that we will remember. Our thanks go to Sandra Merrill and to Connie Lee for cheering, food, and the decorations today. Doesn't the place look great? And we will be having some dessert. We invite you all to participate in. After a closing song, in fact, first I want to do something. Yesterday, I received a call from Senator McCain's local office. He's got a wonderful staff down there that is very helpful. And they called and they said that they had received a fax and thought that I might be interested in that. Allow me to read it to you. The White House, Washington, to the members of Boy Scout Troop 430. I was pleased to learn that 26 of your members are attaining the rank of Eagle Scout today. I want to add my congratulations to those of your families, friends, and the people of your community on this special event. Your troop has the distinct privilege of having so many young men attain the rank of Eagle Scout at one unique and historic ceremony. What an outstanding accomplishment. During the time you've been in Scouting, you've had the opportunity to learn many important lessons. Respect for learning, the virtue of self-discipline, the joy of teamwork, and the satisfaction that comes from hard work. Your achievement reflects your commitment and dedication to the principles of Scouting. What a great preparation for life's challenges to come. With my best wishes for every future success, signed, George Bush, President of the United States.
Oh
Attention colors. Color guards, retrieve the colors.
Eagle Scouts, please leave the Eagle's nest and go to the picture taking area.